Fine. The accompanying calculator display shows results from a test of the claim that less than 10% of treated subjects experienced headaches. Okay. So the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, the proportion is less than 0.10. So we are told that the claim is that the proportion is less than 0.10. Of course, this must be this. There is no other way for the null hypothesis. But here is less than. That was the key word, less than. The accompanying calculator shows the results from, of the claim that less than 10% of treated subjects experienced headaches. Fine. Use the normal distribution as an approximation, as we did with the binomial a long time ago, previous chapters, and assume alpha 0.05 level of significance. And we have a lot of questions here. So they're telling us alpha is 0.05. So please, I'm begging you to pay attention to these problems because these are the most intense in the entire course. So please make the effort. Okay, so in order to analyze the information, first of all, the first question I think it's asking us what type of test is it. So because the alternative is p less than 0.10, we are going to graph it. We are going to put all alpha in here. This is our 0.05. So obviously it's a left tail test or lower tail test. So that's our first, because of this, to the left. So this is what we know, and it's a left tail test. Moving on. What is the test statistic? Okay, so now we're going to go to so we go to stats, and we go to tests, and we go up to one proportion, one proportion z-test, 5. So one more time, let me make sure I'm not confusing you. So we go to stats, and then tests. We choose one proportion z-test, so number 5. And p0, coming from the null hypothesis, we have 0.1. X is given to us as 16. The sample size is given to us as 291. And the alternative hypothesis is less than p0 or p0. Now from here, I highly recommend select draw, not calculate, because we're going to see exactly what I just showed you without alpha. The calculator doesn't know what alpha is. We do. But it will automatically draw the graph and show us the shaded area as being the p-value. Okay, let's see what I did. Okay. 0.1, yes. 16, yes. 291, yes. Less than p0, yes. I'm not sure what it doesn't like. Really? One proportion z-test. It is 5. Correct. 0.1, x, 16, 291. Less than p0. Yes. Yes. So what is the problem? Let me go back to the problem 1 second. 16 out of 291. It already says that use the normal distribution, so we don't have to test the conditions of the test, because if you remember, there are three conditions. Proportion less than 0.1. So we have to get a p-value. Okay, so we have p hat, we have, everything is in here. So the z statistic is this. But why don't I get it? because it's right here. I just wanted to show you how to get it in, so let me copy it. But I don't understand why the calculator would not give it to me. So they want round to 2 decimal places, 256, negative 2.56. It's right here. That's Z statistic. But I want to be able to do the same thing with the graphing calculator. It won't allow me to. I'm not sure why. Okay, so check the answer. Then what is the p-value? Right here. Not p hat. The p-value is this. And they want 4 decimal places. So 0.0052. Okay. Good. And we already know that this, the null hypothesis has to be p equals 0.1. We already wrote it down. Then the alternative is, or no, they don't want the alternative. So we have the p-value. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. So the p-value is 0.052. Okay. So because the p-value is 0.052, it means that Z statistic is here, and here's the p-value. Is it bigger or smaller than alpha? Bigger or smaller? I forgot a 0, that's why. Okay, so here is alpha, 0.05, and here is the p-value, which is 0.0052. So this is the p-value. This area in the tail, and this is alpha. So p-value is smaller or bigger than alpha, and that will tell us how to what the conclusion is.
What's smaller?
Very good. Much smaller. When p-value is smaller than alpha, what do we conclude? Reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis. Sorry, I forgot to stop sharing.
Reject it.
Very good. Reject the null hypothesis. Good. So let's finish it up. So reject the null hypothesis because p-value is greater. No. Reject the null hypothesis because p-value is less than or equal to the significance level. Yes. So we reject the null hypothesis. What is the final conclusion? There is sufficient evidence to support the claim that less than point such and such. Yes, there is sufficient evidence to warrant rejection of the claim that less than 10% of to warrant. There is sufficient evidence to support the claim that less than of treated they have all sorts of tricky answers in there.
Professor, you told me to remind you when.
Yes, thank you. I'm done. Thank you very much. Thank